Plaintiff Denise Elliott says her son has a child with the defendant, but because he's incarcerated, Denise has stepped up to help with her grandchild. However, she's suing her grandson's mother today for rent and breach of contract. Defendant Alicia Santiago says Denise is always judging her as a mother, and she insists she never asked Denise for anything for her child. Alicia's countersuing for harassment.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Yes, Your Honor. I met Alicia Santiago about 7 years ago. She is the mother of my grandson. My son is currently incarcerated in a state prison in Colorado. I have stepped up to help Alicia and my grandson because I know being a single mother is very hard. I have gone above and beyond by giving her a place to live. I bought them baby things like the baby crib, the maternity clothes.
They wouldn't have gotten them any other way? They didn't have enough to buy a baby crib or maternity clothes?
My son was always employed. He's always taken care of the household, but he hasn't earned a lot of money. So his responsibilities went to his paying his bills, his car payment, and things of that nature. He didn't really have a lot of extra money, and so I took it upon myself at that time to help him in any way that I can.
Oh, okay.
Whether it be
otherwise, he'd have been driving, and the baby would have been laying on the floor.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I gave him the car that he was driving back then, so I also assisted in that mannerism as well.
Okay, I
Yes,
just
sir.
wanted to point out, once again, count your money before you go to having babies. All right, why don't you give me some background, ma'am?
Like she said, I met her about 7 years ago, and she's judged me and everything from me being a mother to the tattoos on my body. She helped, yes, but did we ask for it? Did we come to her saying that we need this, oh my God, we're not gonna survive without it?
You all's income changed? That was the only time that you started asking for things?
Well, we didn't ask her for anything, honestly,
Okay,
and I can't say we.
I got you.
I can't say we. I can't speak for her son.
She said she didn't ask you for anything. Is that true or not?
That is not correct, sir.
Okay, good enough. Well, you did say you saw they didn't have things and you went and got them for them. You didn't say that they asked you. You said you were doing, and quite frankly, the things you were doing that you mentioned are typical grandparent, aunt, uncle, sister, brother gifts without asking.
I agree, sir.
In fact, it probably brought you a lot of pleasure to do it. But now you flipped it over to they were so poor, I had to get it, or else the baby wouldn't have gotten it. And you didn't have to get anything, I wouldn't think, as a grandparent. You want to get something. My daughter and her husband, they've had 2 children. When they were born, we got the things you mentioned and more without any requests, and it's the great joy for us to go shopping for it. So that's what I would think that was about. So that is why I'm asking now, is what she says true? Because it sounds more likely that when it came to the baby, that they didn't come to you and ask for anything. You said, oh, let me shower my grandbaby with the nicest things I can get him. But you say they came to you and asked or not?
They did not ask,
Right.
they needed.
They needed.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that correct? Your child would have gone without?
Actually, we had a lot of stuff donated to us from my son's father. He worked at a diner and he had a lot of regulars. We got car seats, strollers, clothes, all sorts of stuff from there. I also had family send me a lot of stuff. So I'm sure we would have been able to get it.
How about the other
I am grateful
finances?
she bought it. I'm not gonna diminish
you said
that.
that you've never come to her. How about the father of the child? Has he come to her? Because him going to his mother is you going to the mother.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I haven't been with him for over 3 years.
Okay, when you all were together, those 4 years.
There was a lot of side conversations happening between them. She treated me very badly.
You don't know if the father asked his mother for any support for y'all family. You don't know. He's never said, I'm going to ask mama.
He never spoke to me about that because he knew how she felt.
All right. That doesn't sound likely to be the case. That's unreasonable for me to believe that living together under the same roof, he goes to mommy for the money, but you never heard a word. Where did you get the money? I'm wondering if he sold dope to get that money. I wonder if because I don't know where he could get that money. He won't discuss it with me. Okay, I'll just be in the dark. He got money out of somewhere. Don't know if it's his mother because he doesn't discuss what he gets from his mother. It's a sidebar.
Oh, yeah.
He shows up with money, and I never asked him where he gets it.
His responsibilities went to his paying his bills, his car payment, and things of that nature. He didn't really have a lot of extra money, and so I took it upon myself at that time to help him in any way that I can.
Okay.
Whether it be...
Otherwise, he'd have been driving, and the baby would have been laying on the floor.
Plaintiff Denise Elliott says her son has a child with the defendant, but she stepped in to help out because her son is currently incarcerated.
So you tell me how she owes rent and breach of contract, and about your son. Did you say he was incarcerated now?
My son is incarcerated at this time.
All right, and that's what I thought you said. All right, so tell me how she owes for the rent and the breach.
Yes, sir. In July of 2021, she was living with a friend of hers, and she got put out. She had nowhere to go, and I stepped up and allowed her to move in with me. And again,
she had nowhere to go?
She had nowhere to go. Nobody would take her in. I took her and my grandson in.
Sounds like she's just too proud to ask people. If I am to believe what she says, maybe she got put out because she had too much pride to go and get some money from someone, because she doesn't do that.
She got put out because they didn't get along, the person she was living with. Nonetheless, I did take them in. And out of the kindness of my heart, and I agree, I'm a grandmother. I'm going to see their needs up front, and I'm going to make those purchases not asking for anything in return. It's because it's a need of theirs, and I see that. But when she came to me in July of 2021, basically homeless, I took her in, and we agreed, verbally agreement on $1,000 a month for rent.
When was that again?
In July of 2021.
Okay, $1,000 a month.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What did happen?
Alicia paid me rent in full until February of 2022 of the $1,000 a month.
Did she tell you why she wasn't paying?
She moved out in January without notice, without a 30-day notice, she came in my home after being gone a whole weekend, told me she's moving in with her new boyfriend. Mm-hmm. My grandson is going back to the house that they got put out in July, okay? And at that point, of course, she's an adult, okay? She said she was gonna give me the rent for February, provided the 30-day notice. I accepted that. Again, she's an adult, she gets to make her own decisions. So going forward, she paid me February rent, the first half. She paid me $500 in February of the $1,000 she owes me. So it's giving me a balance of $500 to be paid in full by March of 2022. She has not paid me the $500 of the past due rent, and that's what I'm suing for. That's part of the suit.
And she owes you because she didn't give you notice.
She owes me because, again, we had that conversation regarding the rent. When she first moved in, it was a verbal agreement, and that she would give me 30-day notice upon any notice to vacate my home.
And, ma'am, what do you say to the breach of contract?
The breach of contract is in August of 2021. Me and her had a conversation regarding a car, knowing that she worked quite a bit of distance from the home, and my grandson was going to start kindergarten that year. So we had a conversation regarding the purchase of a vehicle.
How did the conversation start? Who started that conversation regarding her need for a vehicle?
I did, because I took out money out of my 401k. So I was with the intention of paying off my vehicle. I had $18,000 sitting in my bank account, but I seen the need that she needed as well. To me, that was more important than paying off my vehicle.
And you approached her?
I did approach her. She agreed. She went and decided what vehicle she wanted, and it would cost her $2,500. Once she made that decision, I went to the bank, withdrew the money, and paid for the car.
Okay. And when did she agree to repay?
She had agreed to pay $400 a month until paid in full.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what's the status of that?
She has paid a balance of $1,650.
She has paid?
She has paid me $1,650. She was paying the $400 a month, except in October when she missed a payment.
What's the balance?
$850, sir.
All right. And ma'am, what do you say to this?
So I had the text message of her telling me she doesn't want me to live there anymore because I wasn't communicating with her. So I took it upon myself, came home and told her, well, then I'm gonna move out. And I paid her for the rest of that month, January. Then she still asked me in February when I wasn't there, but I figured I would give her.
When did you take your last item from the house?
My last item was the 17th.
Of January?
Yep, and I had already paid her $500.
You say her last things were removed, ma'am.
February 17th of 2022.
Okay, what items did she remove?
She removed everything out of the home at that time.
Not January.
That's correct.
February.
She took some of her stuff in January 2022 when she...
Do you have evidence that she had something there in February?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have pictures of how she
said
left
she
my
had
home.
everything gone by January. You didn't have to get anything, I wouldn't think, as a grandparent. You want to get something. My daughter and her husband, they've had 2 children. We got the things you mentioned and more without any requests, and it's the great joy for us to go shopping for it.
Plaintiff Denise Elliott says her son has a child with the defendant, but she stepped in to help out because her son is currently incarcerated.
So who else do you lean on while her son's in jail and you taking care of the
The other mother of the child that she does not get along with.
Who else do you
My
rely
siblings, my son's siblings' mother.
Okay.
So he had, after we broke up, he had another
You gotta
relationship.
rely on everybody other than the son, her son, who is in jail.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to hear that. What were you saying again?
I apologize, sir.
You have evidence that you said her final move was in February.
It was in February, so she paid the
No,
$500.
The evidence. You said you have evidence.
Yes, sir, I
Tell
do.
me what page the evidence is
The
on.
page is on
Because we'll make this case real quick. You all have stated
page 2
unconditionally.
is where she has agreed to pay me a balance of $950 for the car.
Ma'am, once again, can you tell me the page where it indicates evidence that she still had things there in February?
Sir, yes, I do. In 313, I have a picture
What
on page 9.
ma'am? On page 13?
9. Page 9.
There's something about 13 just now.
No, that's when she sent me the text message of the balance that she owes me. I
On
apologize.
page 9, I am to see, how do I know when this is, ma'am?
It was dated when I sent it in, sir. It was sent in on 313.
Right.
But that's the
you
condition
said
of the
that it
house she
happened-
left.
You said that this occurred in February.
It did occur.
How do I know?
She left all her things
How
in
do
February.
I know? Do you have evidence of that?
Can you give me a second? I'll find out what
Yes,
page it
take all
is,
the
please.
time you need.
I
Because the whole
apologize for
case
that, sir.
hinges on this now.
She
The whole case
definitely-
hinges on this now, ma'am.
She
Find
moved
it,
out February
please.
17th,
Find what you have, you
2022.
say you have. Find the document.
On page 2, there's a text message. It doesn't prove that the stuff is still in the house, but it does.
One
show that
last
she owes
time.
me.
Evidence that you say you have, documents that you say you have, indicating that she lived there in February. Can you show me what you say you have, or were you perjuring yourself? You're looking through your documents again as if you have them, so you better have them.
Your Honor,
Do
I
you
don't
have
have
them?
any evidence
Do
of
you
her
have
stuff
them?
in there
Your
from
claim
the
is
17th.
dismissed. Yours is granted. Have a good day. I keep asking you. You can't prove your case, ma'am. You said you had it.
She has clearly taken advantage of my kindness. She has clearly owed me money for the car that I purchased for her and back rent. Just because I have no evidence of her move-out date does not mean it did not happen. And she told me she was going to come here to make a fool of me, and apparently she did well. I congratulated her on what she owes me. I'll take that L, but I ain't the one either.
I really have nothing more to say to this woman. I'm glad to be done with her.